welcome everybody. I know a few more dealers will be coming in here in a second, but we want to get started. We've got a lot to cover today. And I want to start with talking about this partnership that we began really previewing with you back in June in our dealer business meetings. And you remember Mark and some of the team from AutoFi presented a new project that they were working on that was really an industry first. So let's go ahead and get things kicked off here. The OEM partnership that we are introducing to you today is one that Mitsubishi, Santander, and of course AutoFi, who's here to take us through the demonstration today, really partnered up to bring a first of a kind experience from an OEM. So we are proud, very proud that these partners, all of us, work together to deliver the package that you're about to see today. It is an industry exclusive that will reduce costs, really deliver not only higher quality leads, but deliver better approvals for you, which I know is near and dear to your heart right now from all of the feedback I've been getting recently. The other great thing you're going to hear about today and really challenge you to look at this is ways to improve your operating expenses, to lower your expenses through this program. And ultimately, it's about delivering better profitability to our Mitsubishi dealer network. And I think that's the essence of this, is that you're going to see all of that as we work through today's meeting and really deliver upon the promise that we made to you in June. Throughout the webinar, you'll see on your screen there a Q&A button. Please type in any thoughts, any questions. If you've got something specific to the slide that's being covered or the subject being covered, put it in there. I'm going to turn things over to Patrick and Brendan, who have really done an exceptional job of bringing our field teams up to speed on ClickShop. And they are masterful at handling questions live time. So don't wait till the end to put it in. With that, Patrick, Brendan, I'm going to turn it over to you, gentlemen.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ken. And again, thank you and welcome to all of our Mitsubishi dealer partners in the Northeast region. My name is Patrick on this call. I'm a part of our training team here at AutoFi. I come very similar backgrounds to all of y'all. I spent about a decade in retail here in the DC area. I then did a couple tours of duty at various OEMs, both in OEM headquarters and out in the field, as well as working in automotive technology. With me on this call is my partner, Brendan. He's part of our marketing team here at AutoFi. Brendan's going to be in the Q&A. He's going to be helping answer some questions. He's going to be keeping me on track, as well as bringing us home with enrollment, communications, and next steps. And getting right into it, right, and not pausing. Ken shared this topic has been discussed and visible for some time now. And I expect there are some folks on this call that think that all we're going to do is talk about the tier one experience, the pre-qualification experience on tier one. And I really, it's important to echo Ken's perspective that the collaborative offerings here between Santander as your captive, Mitsubishi Motors as your OEM, and AutoFi, fortunate to be the technology partner here. The collaborative offerings that are going to help you, that's the true star of today's show. And I want to kind of paint the picture of why this is going to be so powerful for our Mitsubishi dealer partners. As Ken mentioned, right, the vision here is more high quality leads, right? Pre-qualified customers that are not just landed on a car, but have a pre-qualification with a real pre-qualification and code with Santander. And along with those pre-qualifications, right, like our vision here is to maximize fundable approval, right? And we're talking to dealers here today, so we don't have to tell you that there are some lenders that'll stip you up and down. And our vision here is that we're delivering fundable approvals with that captive support. And with these pre-quals, the vision is to open up the back-end carry or F&I reserve, depending on the language that you use. And then we're going to be delivering tools that are going to increase your back-end gross. Full stop, right? We're opening up that back-end carry and filling it with products that are already proven to deliver increased back-end gross. And yes, the tier one experience with the buying tools is a part of this, of course, but we're going to wrap all this together in a package that is reducing dealer spend. We have a slide here in a moment that this package is $850, fully co-opable, fully pre-submitted to your co-op, no paperwork, no faxing, no scanning, nothing like that. And the team collaboratively has put together a fun little kicker, right? Where if we use this process, if we get more high quality leads, get more fundable approvals, and we use it, and we have Santander pre-qualifications that start in AutoFi and end with a pre-qual and end with a funded deal in Santander, that there's ways for you to help your co-op dollars go even further, right? And in this time, in this era, right, y'all know that will help you increase your spend on things like paid search, digital advertising, that'll help you get more traffic that you can put into this cycle that converts profitably. So if the elevator door were closing on where we have the opportunity to go together as partners, Santander, Mitsubishi, AutoFi, and Mitsubishi dealers, this is where we want to take us. And this is going to be our barometer for the rest of this call. Better approvals, lower cost, and more profit. That's what gets us out of the bed in the morning. That's what gets us excited. And we hope that it gets y'all equally excited. And so we talked about Mitsubishi. We talked about Santander. You might be wondering to yourselves, why AutoFi? And the simple reason is we're already driving real results within this construct. AutoFi partnered with Santander for a pre-qualification platform before the Mitsubishi project. And generally speaking, we're seeing about 50% of traffic that arrives on that site ends up engaging with pre-qualification, right? So there is a result of a great deal of A/B testing and UX examination that is a proven combination to drive legitimate engagement with pre-qualification. Secondly, I was scrolling through the names on this list and phone numbers, and I was looking for folks that I know. We have Mitsubishi dealers on our platform right now today. And if we look at all the Mitsubishi dealers that we have data for in our platform for a 3-month period, December through February, and look at 2,500 deals, new and used, on average, the AutoFi deals, when we compare them to the non-AutoFi deals, we're generating higher back-end gross. Not higher back-end revenue, higher back-end gross, full stop. And then lastly, our final role in this project is to deliver software that replaces things that our Mitsubishi partners are already spending money on. If you're spending money on a Capital One pre-qualification on your tier 3 site, you can replace that spend with this program. If you're paying for an online credit app, online digital retail, trade payoff functionality in your showroom. I know that DealerTrack still charges extra for trade payoff functionality. If you're paying extra for menu solutions and in-store sales experience, all that is going to be part of what we walk through today and part of what you're going to be receiving with this package. The tier 1 pre-qualification and shop by payment, the tier 3 pre-qualification plus digital retail, and then lastly, the tools to sell cars faster, give away less gross, and make customers happier in the showroom. As Ken said, and as Brendan just mentioned in the chat, please ask those questions. You know, if it's something that we're going to cover in a minute, we might tell you to to give us a moment to get to that topic so we can show it and explain it, but please feel welcome to ask questions. So our agenda for this time, what are we going to talk about? Well, we already started with why, right? Our vision is to increase high quality leads, create a framework that'll help dealers benefit from Santander support as well as Mitsubishi to bundle pre-qualification, digital retail, showroom for less and make it co-opable, all together with an proven increase in profitability. That's our why for being on this call. Yeah, and again, that's what gets us up and out of the bed in the mornings. How? The how training, well, that's what's next. We are going to be going through together in real environments the tier 1 pre-qualification and shop by payment experience, the tier 3 experience, the showroom experience. We're going to see all of this in real time. And then we're going to bring it home with information about how policy, right, the Santander Preferred Program, helps open up more opportunities on your Santander approvals. And then lastly, Brendan's going to bring it home with dealer sign up and with questions. So I think this is my reminder to go to a different screen. Here we go. And so now I'm going to change screens. So for anybody that's multitasking, we're going to see some new screens here. So I'm going to move this over here. So for our dealers that are dialed in, I've got 2 windows pulled up. And I know it's 2024, but I always like to give a lay of the land of what we're going to cover, because I know that in a dealership, you probably got people coming in and out of your office. You got your phone ringing. So during the next, call it 30 minutes of our time together, we're going to be on the training version of our tier 1 experience, the training version of our tier 3 experience, and then we may also be from time to time in the training version of our dealer portal and our showroom experience. So again, if you've got consultants coming in and out the door, depending on what you see on your screen, we're going to be covering either the tier 1, the tier 3, or the dealer portal experience. So let's start with tier 1, because that is the most visible part of this program, and it's what many customers are already engaging with. So I'm going to make this bigger so that we can all see it. So we're on the tier 1 experience, right? And if everyone could type like a 1 or a 0, 1 if you've seen the tier 1 experience, 0 if you haven't. Just enter that into the chat or into the Q&A. Okay, Richard's seen it. Amar hasn't seen. Okay, so a mix. Ooh, okay, good. Good. Okay. So a mix of people that have seen it and that haven't. So let's actually, for those that haven't seen it, let's have some fun. So everyone knows Mitsubishi Cars is, of course, your tier 1. And when a customer goes to shopping tools and goes to search inventory, it brings up the pre-qualification and shop by payment experience. So it goes from tier 1 to the pre-qualification and experience right here. And so what we're going to do here on this call is we're going to actually get pre-qualified together. So we're scrolling around. We got some inventory here. Let's get pre-qualified on this Outlander here. Okay. And I'm going to move all of your faces just so I don't confuse myself. So it pre-populates to getting pre-qualified as an individual. Let's click next. Now, fair warning. I know that when people do webinars and they make you watch them type, it's no fun. So I've pre-saved some information into my browser just so you're not watching the top of my head while I type. So I'm going to enter this customer named Murta. Today is March 19th. And so we're asking for the basic information about this customer. Nothing scary, name, email, phone. Simple stuff for the first page of a lead form. Now, because this is a pre-qualification, we're also asking for address. And again, to protect everybody from having to watch me type, I have pre-saved Myrta's address too. So now it's going to ask for employment. Let's see here. So let's say we are employed by, who's got a fun employer name? Let's see. Looks like Richard was the first one to respond. So Gray Motors. And let's say we are the sales manager. And however the customer gets paid, we get paid annually. So let's say we make $100,000. And now I'm going to click next. And so the last part of the experience, the very last question, is some of that high anxiety information. Now, why do we do this? I shared that this is not our first pre-qualification experience, that we've built a pre-qualification platform for Santander's Drive Marketplace in the past. And when we ask the high anxiety questions at the end, the customer, as they complete the first 3 pages, their confidence goes up and their anxiety goes down, right? They're more invested in this process. They've spent more time on the site. And so the conversion rate is much higher. So we're going to enter Myrta's birthday and her social. And now we're going to confirm all this information. She's the sales manager. And she is going to submit. So now what's happening is the tier 1 shop by payment experience is actually communicating in real time with Santander and their loan origination system and their policy engine. And faster than I could explain what was happening, we have got a pre-qualification. Now this is a pre-qualification, and the customer is served with lots of options to start to customize their payment and search by payment. But let's go right to the cars, because I can also show you the search by payment here. So we can search by monthly payment. I can lower this and see what cars are under 350. Now, these vehicles are all individually priced according to Myrta's pre-qualification. So any of the terms or policy that came back in that pre-qual, if it's a certain rate, if it's a certain required amount down, if it's a certain max advance, all that is taken into effect as we search by payment here. And there's more filters. We can filter to cars, we can filter to certain colors or what have you. We can do all sorts of filtering right here. And get to whatever cars we want. Now, let's say Myrta comes back to one of these particular cars. She can't get that higher trim that she looked at earlier, but she sees this red ES and she says, okay, this is the one for me. So she clicks on get this rate. And now it brings up all the dealer's information. The dealership, we give the ability to set an appointment, or we let Myrta just confirm that this is the right car for her. Now, I haven't seen the question yet, but I'm sure that someone is typing it as we're talking about it. The question out there is probably like, where, how do we get this deal? How do we see it? So now Myrta is told to go to the dealership. I'm going to go to one of my other screens. And again, for those that are multitasking, a fair warning that we are going to a new screen here. So now we're going to that screen that has all the blue. And this is the dealer portal, right? This is the AutoFi dealer portal. And so in this case, today is the 19th. We're here on the East Coast in the Northeast region. It's 12/19, or technically 12/20. So this is the Myrta that got pre-qualified just a minute ago. If we were running our business here in the dealer portal, these would stand out based on the tiles here that say, hey, ding, 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 this customer is pre-qualified. Well, let's click into this deal and see what we have. So here for good old Myrta, we get all the visibility into the pre-qualification, right? Because if we have to look for information while we're working our opportunities, while we're working our leads, while we're managing our showroom, that doesn't work for us as dealers. So we put the information at the top, clear as day, what Myrta is pre-qualified for, not just for this car deal, but even like what her pre-qualification maximum is in case we want to switch her to a different car or move her to a different piece of inventory. Now, this is a quiet bunch. So we heard from, who did we hear from? We heard from Jeff, Ron, Neil, John. So Richard, you were the first one to answer our question earlier. So Richard, in your store, when you get an internet lead, even a credit app or a pre-qualification such as this, are there sometimes when customers ghost you and they don't respond to your team, and your team is like calling them, emailing them, texting them with no response? Does that sometimes happen out there in the real world? Yes. Okay. Yes, it absolutely does. Right. And part of the solution, part of the package of offerings that AutoFi is delivering to Mitsubishi dealers is something that we call a shared experience. So, Richard, if you could do me a solid and type your cell number into the chat, I'm going to engage with you as if you were our customer in a shared experience. So, to Richard's point, customers don't always respond to our outreach as the BDC. Sometimes maybe because we're calling them and they started online digitally and maybe they want to communicate with us digitally. So with AutoFi, what we can do for Myrta or Richard is send them a shared experience. And we do that by clicking this little button that looks like the share icon on an iPhone. And we can now send this as a shared experience to Richard. Now, before I do this, I know we got a bunch of general managers on this call and dealer principals, and my first ever dealer principal's voice is now in my head saying, if it didn't happen in the CRM, it didn't happen. This is how we train on this experience, but if we were in a dealership, we would click on this copy link button and we would send it through our CRM. That way, that way it's in the CRM, so we know that it really happened. So in this case, we got Richard's number here, and I'm going to copy Richard's number over here from one screen, paste it in over here. And so now what's going to happen is I'm going to hit send, and Richard, you're going to get a text on your phone. And so what's going to happen when Richard opens up his phone, he's going to see a link. I want you to do me a favor, Richard, when you get that link, tap on it, and it should pull up kind of a condensed version of what we're looking at here as the customer. It won't have all Myrta's pre-qualification information at the top, but it'll have this vehicle card. Perfect. Now, Richard, I've been trying to call you for weeks or a week, and you haven't returned my phone calls. Now I've sent you this link and I've said, hey, Richard, I know that we've been trying to get in touch with one another. You started online. Do you want to continue your car buying process online? Click on this link and you can work your own deal. So for instance, Richard, I'm going to have my hands in front of the camera here. Change the term by clicking on one of the tiles. Oh, it looks like you changed the amount down already, or you changed it to 75 months. I like it. 60 months. Look at that. So we have some buying signals here from Richard, don't we? Like, pretty sure at least it's a real person, right? And we know maybe that Richard is engaging with this car. So now I could continue to use my CRM and say, hey, Richard, thanks so much for working that car online. Are you trying to get to a certain payment, or is there something you want to get to? And what we find with our dealers that use this is then Richard would say, yeah, I don't like the red. And so what I could do on my side, if Richard is still on his phone, I can search for more Outlanders. I can search by VIN number, stock number, all that good stuff. And let's add a blue. Let's add this gray one here. Let's add this. So now in real time on my screen, it's going to update with kind of a car above the other. And on Richard's, if he scrolls down on his phone or swipes down on his phone, he'll see the other one. And if he taps select, it'll push that gray one all the way to the top. And it looks like he did because it wasn't me. And so now we have like a real digital conversation with Richard. And Richard is engaged. He's playing with the term. Like, again, I probably have to work hard to not get Richard in and buying this car, right? And so I share this because we're excited to be partners with Mitsubishi. We're excited to bring the pre-qualification experience to all of you. But part of being partners is knowing that you're still working a car deal. We're still talking with customers. It's still a highly emotional sales process. And we want to bring you tools that give value across the experience, not just online, but getting that customer in store. And then once they're in store, continuing to work with that customer. So Richard, thank you so much. Question on leads from Robert. Yeah, so the pre-qualification leads do go through your MIDS or Mitsubishi Deal Link program.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. The CRM too. Like we push them as well. So you've got kind of multiple places you can access those. Hey,
All right.
Patrick, there's another question that came through that I think if you don't mind answering live, there's we opened up the floodgate on questions, so I appreciate the questions that are coming through. But one I think be useful to answer live. Dan asked if the rate needs to be disclosed. Can a pre-approval for a dollar amount be used in lieu? Many times the customer is turned off by the high rate that Santander offers. Lower rates are available elsewhere.
Sure. So as far as I know now, this is the UI that the customers experience when they're exposed to the pre-qualification.
I believe, yeah. And then we'll get into like some of the preferred program things a little bit later on too. So the rate should be competitive. But yeah, Patrick, yeah, I think you answered that.
Yep. And then we got a question from Anonymous. Anonymous, who are you? It's nice to meet you. How does the customer get to the AutoFi pre-approval? How does the customer get to the AutoFi pre-approval? So we just walked through how the customer experiences the pre-qualification on tier 1. So I can show you, we can have a little bit of fun with Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous, and we can actually show you how the customer can take that tier 1 pre-qualification down to tier 3, right? Because, hey, let's have some fun, right? Like to a customer, the Mitsubishi dealership, the Mitsubishi website, the Mitsubishi tier 1 versus tier 3, like they don't always know the difference, right? To them, it's just Mitsubishi, right? So wouldn't it be nice if there was a way to connect tier 1 and tier 3 and give the customer the same experience? I like that question, Anonymous. So here's what we're going to do. Let's say it's a week later and good old Myrta is back on your dealership website. And she's looking at these cars and she sees this pre-qualification and says, gosh, I feel like I already did this. Oh, already pre-qualified? Let me sign in. So Myrta can type in her last name. She can type in her zip code, which I have to look up because it is not my zip code. And then the last 4 digits of her social. She can enter all that here. And then she can sign in. And so now for those that are multitasking, I do ask that you cast your gaze here at the dealership website. We haven't gotten this question yet on this call, but on a couple of the calls we've been asked, hey, how does this different from Capital One? And I want to show, seeing is believing. I want to show how not only can we pull Myrta's pre-qualification from tier 1 to tier 3, but when I click X, ladies and gentlemen, watch the green buttons. We are now taking Myrta's pre-qualification from tier 1 and we are pricing every single one of your vehicles against that pre-qualification so that Myrta can shop by payment on your website and see how her pre-qualification and her policy aligns with your inventory. And if there's any vehicles that she doesn't get pre-qualification for, it wouldn't show that payment. So Anonymous, if that wasn't your question, I know you'll re-ask it in the Q&A, but that's how the customer finds their pre-qualification that they started on tier 1, how they can pull it down to tier 3 and act on it with your inventory on your website as they continue to nurture themselves down the buying experience. Now, part of this program is our digital retail product. This is not just about pre-qualification. I know that we get really excited about it, but part of the package is, of course, our digital retail experience. And once Murta, or in this case, Brendan, our teammate on the call, right? Brendan is now able to engage with a more traditional digital retail experience, right? So for those of us that are on the call that have a digital retail tool on their website that they're paying for, that's all going to come under the auspices of this program and all be part of that $850 that is automatically submitted to co-op by default. No paperwork, no faxing, no scanning. This is the second time I've mentioned faxing, Brendan. I'm not sure what decade I'm in. But once the customer starts the digital retail process with your inventory, it looks very similar to what Will was doing on his cell phone. This is just specific to your dealership website. Taxes and fees are super important. We lean into accuracy. In fact, I've got this, I think, pre-built with California taxes and fees, just since it's the most complex. And we surface your fees, accurate taxes based on address. We mentioned that AutoFi deals drive better back end gross. Part of how we do that is for your online customers. We surface your F&I products within the digital retail experience, right? F&I is so important to AutoFi that we put it in our name, right? And this allows you to have your F&I products presented to your customers. 100% of your shoppers get to see your F&I products 100% of the time. Now, at AutoFi, right, we're all about getting that full application. And so just like with our pre-qualification experience, we have multiple apply for financing CTAs. That way the customer doesn't miss it. And we get that full application submitted from tier 3. Any other tier 3 questions? Ooh, I got questions in the Q&A and the chat. So Brendan, I see a couple.
Do you want to ask? I know the one that's come up in a lot of calls from last week was around the rates that are shown,
Yeah.
markups. Let's keep
So
talking
Michael,
about
let's have some fun here. Let's say the customer doesn't have great credit. It adjusts the rate. This happens to be a 2023 car. Let's click on an older car. Yoink. Let's look at this 2019. Let's click on calculate payment for this 2019. Now, first and foremost, it remembers that this is Brendan. And now notice that it's giving us a higher rate because it remembers Brendan's credit rate, but it also knows this is an older asset. So hopefully, rather than just telling you yes, I was able to show you yes. Michael, thanks for the question. I appreciate it.
Do you want to talk real quick about the rates, Patrick, that are shown, like the markups? Sorry, you just
yeah,
covered.
heck yeah. So, when you go live with AutoFi, one of the conversations that you'll have with our implementation team is about your markups. And we're able to accommodate and codify your markups for that are to be lender specific, right? If you want to hold 2 points with one lender, 1 point with another lender, there's also some lenders out there that we have marked that you have to mark down and get paid a flat on. We're able to accommodate all that in your setup. We can even like get really hyper focused. For instance, what was it, 2 years ago? Like Chase would only allow you to hold 2 points everywhere but 84 months, but only 1 point at 84 months. We're able to codify that at a highly granular level with things like term and what have you, so that you're truly putting the right foot forward. What if the customer is not a tier 1 customer? Great question, John. So what we could do is they would go through the same pre-qualification experience on tier 3 that we went through on tier 1. It's the same look and feel. It's just on your website with your inventory. Michael, great question. So we get your rates, your residuals, your money factors, all of that each month, as well as the specificity down to the your 3-letter acronym for trim, which is escaping me at the moment because it's It's Tuesday morning, but we ingest all that information so that the rates are as accurate as possible. Great. Cool. So we've gone through the tier 1 experience. We've gone through the tier 3 experience. Let's have a little bit of fun with Brendan here. So Brendan was on Dahara Motors. So I'm not a dealer anymore, but I still have lots of dealership websites because it makes me feel like I'm still in a dealership. So Brendan was our customer on tier 3, you might remember, just a few minutes ago. And so when AutoFi sends a lead, there is a link in the comment field of the lead. We were talking earlier, I think, with William about, hey, you know, sometimes life is tough for BDC reps. I'm sorry, Richard. We were talking with Richard, right? It's hard to get in touch with the customer. So anytime AutoFi sends a lead, we include a link to what we call our signals page, or what I lovingly refer to as our buying signals page. The idea is for anybody that's talking to your customers, in this case to Brendan from your tier 3 site, we want to make it as easy as possible to have a highly effective, highly customer-centric conversation with this customer, right? Because we want to be first when we follow up the customer, but we also want to be best. And so information on what Brendan did online, information about the payments that Brendan calculated, all of this is available, including the credit range that he created for himself. This will help us have a better conversation with Brendan when we send him an email, when we send him a text, when we follow up with him and convert him from a lead to a buyer. So we've gone through the tier 1 experience, the tier 3 experience. And so now, Brendan, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through our showroom platform. And so what I've got here, Brendan, looks like I have a question.
No, I was just telling you, I'm doing my best to multitask, listen to you, and type away responses. So I just didn't know if you needed something from me. Otherwise, I'm going to keep on responding.
Cool. I appreciate it. So as AutoFi, as we've created success for dealers online, our partner dealers have continued to tell us this online finance tool is great, but it doesn't help me on those busy Saturdays in the showroom. And my team has actually spent the last year out working with dealers on our showroom solution. It'll be a year next week. And we see what you see, right? On those busy Saturdays, the customer's buying temperature is at its absolute highest right after the test drive, right? When they get back from that test drive, right? Whether they have great credit, not so great credit, big family, single person, all that goes aside. And the one resounding element is they're at their buying temperatures at its highest right after the test drive. And on those busy Saturdays, we go from having nobody in the showroom to like 11:30, and we got 3 customers out riding. We're bidding on 2 trades, and it's like deals are coming at us in waves. And at the desk, we might be looking at a trade here, trying to follow up with a sales consultant over there, do a TO over here. And that ecosystem creates this situation where it can take 10, 15, 20 minutes sometimes to put a payment in front of a customer. And while they've waited that 10, 15, 20 minutes to get a payment in front of their customer or in front of them, their buying temperature has gone down, right? Their buying temperature has dropped. And now, instead of dealing with someone who's truly licking the paint off the car, we're dealing with someone whose arms are folded. They've been texting their uncle who knows a guy. Maybe they've been on Kelley Blue Book. Who knows, right? But it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's a totally different person who was laughing at all of our jokes during the test drive. And as a result of that, we have to give away the house, right? And that construct is what kills deals, because time kills gross. And so what we're going to show you with Showroom is our solution to that problem that is already driving results for AutoFi dealers. And so what we're going to do here, let's say we've got a customer named Mitsubishi Northeast Region, super creative name for our customer. And our Greenpeace sales consultant comes to us and says, oh, I got this customer. I'm going to take them out to the back lot and show them this car because I want to land them on this very particular car. I don't know what to do. I'm scared, right? Because green peas never say stuff like that, right? So at the desk, right? Let's say I'm a desk-centric sales manager, which I am, right? I want to control this deal at the desk. So what I can do, okay, green pea, go show that very particular car to that customer, land them on that car. And the minute you come back with that customer, when they're excited, you're going to have payments to show them. No waiting, no fuss, no muss. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to actually build a deal for this customer, Mitsubishi Northeast region. So time check, it's 12:41 here on the East Coast. So let's have some fun. So this is not a Mitsubishi training account. Again, I do these trainings in different accounts for certain bits of functionality, but just let's say I have a stock number that I want to land this customer on, right? Or a full VIN number, or I can just type the model. And so what I can do is I can add a very specific car. Let's say I'm trying to land this customer on this black base model, and I'm still the manager at the desk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-structure this deal. And I want to control this deal, right? Because I'm the desk, I'm in charge, right? So I'm going to go to our functionality that we cleverly call desking. And now I have full control over this deal. I can see the invoice on this car. I can see the taxes. I said that I like to use California addresses on trainings like this just to show how granular we get. This is all brought in via our API. If we have addendums on the car, we could add them. Any of our fees for our dealership, we can codify your fees, very similar to markups. We can do them by model. We can do them by fuel type, all that good stuff. If we have a discount, right? Let's say we know this customer was working at a Nissan deal, working with a Nissan dealer down the street, and we need to lower our price by $350, right? I can add that in at the desk because I'm in control at the desk. I can look for rebates. And then I can see whatever that final selling price is. Now, when we're working a deal, Richard, we were having fun earlier about BDCs. Michael, you were asking some good questions about programs. Like when we have a car deal in front of us, do we most of the time have a trade that we have to work at the same time? Is that still a problem in this market? We still have to deal with trades, right? Yeah, of course. Richard's like, come on, Patrick, you're not that old. Exactly, right? We have trades that we have to deal with in this market. And if I'm a manager, having multiple tools open is going to slow me down. And what kills gross? Time. Time kills gross. So I'm going to open up trade in here, and I'm going to request payoff from financial institution. And we're going to do this in real time, friends. These are all the lenders that we can pull payoffs from. I promise it's not every lender in the universe, but we got non-captives, we got captives, right? And of course we have Capital One because I know we're going to flip a lot of customers out of Capital One loans and put them into Santander loans, right? We can search by VIN because like I've never met a customer who has their account number, like never in my whole life. So I'm going to paste in this VIN. Don't judge me if you decode the year on that VIN, and I'm going to hit request payoff. Boom. Now, Tony's excited that we have a payoff, but I'm expecting Tony or Richard to ask me a really skeptical question about payoff days, right? Because we live in the details as dealers. So I'm going to show you instead of tell you the answer. I'm going to click on this little printer icon, cancel. So this is today's date, and this is the day the payoff is through. For this dealer, we have this codified as a 10-day payoff. If you want a 12-day payoff, awesome. If you want a 15-day payoff, awesome. If you have a slow business office and you want a 30-day payoff, like we got you, right? It's a simple keystroke on the back end for us to codify your payoff days that align with your business and set your managers and your operation up to be successful, full stop. So we're still working this deal while Green Pea is out on the back lot talking to the customer. It looks like the Green Pea is walking back. I got to get a move on. Let's say we're going to put $4,000 on this trade. We're putting $4,000 on this trade, right? So I can put an ACV in the system. I can put a trade-in allowance. I'm holding a nickel on this deal, right? I'm getting a little bit of gross wherever I can get it. And so now what I'm able to do as the manager is I'm able to save this deal. Looks like so we're able to save this deal. And now my sales consultant walks in the door. It's been 5 minutes since we started working this deal. We give our sales consultant the high sign. The sales consultant sits down with their customer and says, "Is this black base model the car that you want? Is this the right car for you?" The customer says, "Yes." And the sales consultant is able to look at their computer with the customer and say, "Let's work your deal together." And the customer is expecting this wait. The customer read 3 articles online about how hard it is to buy a car. And we have now taken away all of their anxiety and given them information. And y'all know how it works, right? The customer is going to say, "Well, what if I put $5,000 down?" In the old days, I'd have to stand up, walk over to the desk, leave my customer who's back texting their uncle who knows the guy. But now if they want to put $5,000 down, say, "Great, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, let's work your deal together. And let's enter 5,000. Still working the deal within the parameters set by the desk. What about 84 months? Let's work your deal together. Generally speaking, when we train this and do it live with dealers, the customer asks 2 or 3 questions and then they're ready to buy. Like, this is the point where you would look at the other managers at the tower and say, it shouldn't be this easy. Right? But by presenting the deal fast, we're leaning into the fact that time kills gross, and we're smashing that paradigm by getting real numbers right in front of the customer fast in a lightning fast way, right? That helps us close deals faster and give away less gross. Now, I know that someone else is dialed in as me. Could you mute yourself? So with this customer, right? Some dealers on this call might be asking, "Yeah, but what about F&I? We don't show payments until they see an F&I menu, or F&I is an important part of our process." Awesome. F&I is so important to Autofi that we put it in our name. So part of your package includes Autofi menus. So what you're able to see, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, everybody. I sometimes am too zoomed in for these webinars. Yoink. Here we go. So we've got real menus with your products, your packages, configurable. You can have a different lease menu versus finance menu versus cash menu, fully configurable, that put your products in front of your customers. And since we've been talking about payments this whole time, I don't think anyone will be surprised that we have payments down here. Now, my buddy Richard has been nice to me and not asked me any more hard questions, but we all know there's customers who are like, "Yeah, I don't want the full package. What about just Gap?" Awesome. We got you there too. $14 a month. Do you want me to add it? All right. Giving you the tools to sell all your products or one of your products. And now what we get most excited about, or at least desk managers get most excited about, is the last bite at the apple with the Autofi menus. And that is our declination experience, where we can print this and a manager can sit down with a customer and get confirmation that they are declining these protection products. And this is where the real magic starts to happen, right? The customer shares, "Well, I actually really think I need the VSC because of my last car, but I don't think I can afford it." Right. Well, now the manager can lean in and work that deal, help that customer get to a payment they need to get to with the protection that they wanted. Right. And the amount of time that we're saving on a per customer, per manager basis frees our managers up to have those better TOs, have those better flybys, and you get the deals to yes faster that are easy, and free up time to get those deals that are on the bubble. So that's Autofi Showroom. Oh, we had one question. I want to go back to Michael's question. He asked about rates. I do want to also show that close out of here. In our showroom experience, right? For those of us that are in lease markets, right? I'm from the Northeast generally, so I also swipe right for leasing. When your sales consultant is working that deal with the customer, if they pull the old "what about a lease" game, it's just one click for that consultant to work your lease within your parameters, same deal structure, same desk control, and we can flip that customer to a lease, right? And they can say either it doesn't work for me or yeah, I'm not interested. And then we go back to finance and we move that, continue to move that deal down the line, right? We're minimizing those excuses for the consultant to leave their customer, lose control, lose credibility, and focus on selling cars faster, giving away less gross, and making the customer happier. Okay. So Brendan, I think that's what I was supposed to cover for showroom. Brendan always has to keep me in line because I get excited when I'm talking to dealers.
You're doing well. Doing good, Patrick. Keep up.
All
Keep it
right.
up.
All right. So again, like our vision is fundable approvals faster and using policy combined with F&I presentment to increase back-end gross and make customers happier. We talked about F&I presentment. We talked about how in our digital retail experience, we show products. We talked about the menu, the product by product, and the declination experience that are built into our showroom platform. And so now we want to talk about approvals and policy. So we haven't gotten this question yet, although I'm not fully up to speed with all the questions. What about my non-prime business, right? Like Brendan and I were at NADA. We probably met many of you on Sunday after the make meeting. And this was a really common question from our Mitsubishi partner dealers. What about my non-prime business? And our take on this question is that across your spectrum, you need fundable approvals, right? Whether it's prime or non-prime or near prime, you need fundable approvals because your objective is just not to see that green check mark in dealer track or the upward facing green arrow on Route 1. Your objective is the car to be burning gas, busting bugs down the road. And so we did some math. And when I say we, I mean Brendan did this math. I was just on the call from a dealership. We looked at the flow and the experience, right? And so if we look at our soft pull experience or our pre-qualification experience, about half of customers engage with pre-qualification or soft pull. The next step in the journey for getting a real fundable approval is a collateral app, right? An app with a full application, a vehicle, and deal structure, right? Full collateral app. If we look at all of our online and in-store business from across our Mitsubishi dealer footprint, 25% of customers that go through a pre-qualification or a soft pull end up submitting a full collateral app. 25% online and in store submit a full collateral app. And of those same collateral apps, 49.85% result in a closed deal in the DMS, right? These are people that are burning gas, busting bugs. So that's across the non and prime spectrum. And that's like that's the outcome we get excited about, right? Like, yes, we want more high quality leads, but we really want more cars down the road burning gas, busting bugs. Like, that's truly when we all win. That's when Mitsubishi dealers win. That's when the captive Santander wins, and certainly when the Mitsubishi Motors North America team wins, when the customers are down the road burning gas, busting bugs. Now, part of this program is the participation in the Santander Preferred Lending Program. And this has been generating some excitement. So let's talk about it and what it means. With a Santander Preferred approval, now these are for non-subvented deals, right? So for a preferred non-subvented approval, dealers will see up to a 100 basis point reduction in rates and up to $3,500 additional in back-end allowance, right? The base program maxes out at 6,500. Santander Preferred maxes out at 10,000. Now, Santander has kind of has a sliding scale. They don't have like specific FICO based buckets. And so all of this is dependent on customer credit. But this is pretty powerful, right? Like think about the power of a basis point reduction of up to 100 points. Think about someone who maybe thinks they can only afford a used car, and our partners Ken or Jack or your DM are challenging you to get a couple more new cars down the road, right? And well, hey, with 100 basis point reduction, right? All of a sudden, a new car is potentially a little more affordable, isn't it? Right? That basis point reduction can help in those conversations to switch from used to new. Alternatively, where I as a former dealer get really excited with the back end allowance. Hold and rate is fun. It's easy, but we also share it with the lender, don't we? What if I got a basis point reduction and more back end allowance, and I give up the rate at retention to open up a little bit of affordability for my customer, and I fill it with back end products where I get to keep all the gross? Like there's some real, on a deal by deal basis, this is going to be insanely helpful, but on thinking about your business for a whole month, like there's a real opportunity to lean into this preferred lending program and really help out your F&I department where, I'm talking to dealers, I don't have to tell you that that back end gross is a much higher net margin retention than say new car gross. So we're really excited about the preferred lending program, and we view it as a really powerful part of this program. The offering itself, I see Brendan is talking to some of y'all about the specifics here. So the ClickShop 2.0 is $850 a month. It's 100% co-op covered. We pre-submit it to co-op for you. We've got the pre-qualification on tier 1, the pre-qualification on your Mitsubishi dealer site, the connection between the two, the digital retail on your showroom site, the showroom package with our desking, with our menus, the ability in your showroom on those busy Saturdays to sell cars faster and give away less gross. Brendan, I've gone like way over, but I want to bring it home here with co-op, right? So we all know co-op is important, especially as we look to grow our business. Within this program, there's another fun benefit, the opportunity to help your co-op go further. For every used car application that starts in AutoFi and gets submitted and funded through Santander, you'll get 3 points. For every new car app, you'll get 1 point. And when you reach 30 points in a month, you get a $200 co-op savings the following month, right? So instead of us submitting $850 for co-op the following month, we submit $650. And so you get that extra $200 in co-op savings to go do more dig ad, to go do more paid search, to drive your business, to fill your funnel into this ecosystem that converts highly, is profitable, and opens up policy to help you drive more business. Timing wise, we've got pre-qualification and shop by payment now on tier 1, pre-qualification on your dealer site and digital retail on your dealer site, as well as the showroom package. Our first wave of dealers is going live at the end of April, and then we've got our subsequent waves starting in mid-May. So that's the timing of this program. And again, why we're excited to be part of this is we have a proven track record with pre-qualification and Santander pre-qualification specifically. We're already driving back-end gross, appreciable back-end gross enhancements, and the elements of the package are setting you up to truly replace spend that's already on your books, drive down your COS, and help that net profit go up. And so, Brendan, I think you're going next.
I am. Yeah. Am I on mute? No, I'm not on mute. Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you guys for all the questions. I think you broke the record, so keep them coming. So for the enrollment process, we're trying to make this as easy as possible for you all. So you'll see the URL. It's the same place that you went to sign up for this webinar. We've added a new button to that website that says sign up now. So if you saw, assuming you want to move forward with this, you like what you saw, it's a bit of a no-brainer. As you saw, you're saving a ton of money with this, and you're reaping some pretty tremendous benefits as well. So you've got two options here. You click on sign up now. It's going to take you to a new form. You enter some basic information about your store, your contact information, and then you're going to get back from us a order form with a DocuSign that you'll need to review and sign that. And then that gets you up and running, or gets you into the enrollment process. And as Patrick was mentioning a few slides earlier, we'll get you up and running. Our target for this kind of next wave of dealers is by early to mid-May to get up and running. And we'll continue to update you all as far as like our timing for setup. But we're trying to make this as easy as possible for you for that. So we just need some basic information. Now, great. Yeah, keep going, Patrick. Cool. Thank you. So we know that maybe you have some additional questions. We are going to update our site here after the series of webinars this week with links to view this recording on demand. We also know that you may have some additional questions. If you do, simply click on the book a demo button, and then we will get back to you with one of our sales folks to answer any questions, do a more in-depth run through if you have any questions on what you saw. But the idea here is make it nice and easy for you if you're ready to sign up. If you have any questions or want to review any of the additional materials, it's going to be on that same website, Auto5/Mitsubishi. And then next steps. So as I mentioned, that's where you're going to sign up. The first wave of dealers will go live by really the end of April. That second wave of dealers, and then from there, we're starting that off in mid-May. And then we'll be sharing a program FAQ with you later this week as we're updating that with additional questions that have come through. And then Brett, I saw your question come through. So the price on this, it's $850 per month. It is co-op turnkey, so that comes directly out of your co-op fund. So you will not get an invoice from AutoFi for this. You'll see that with your turnkey co-op program, which means you don't have to capture screenshots or tear sheets as well. Don't have to submit this from a month-to-month basis. And I think that does it for my stuff.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate the questions. It makes it more exciting and engaging, and we get to talk about real car deals. So from all of us at AutoFi, thank you to everyone. Thank you, Ken. Thank you to the region teams, and thank you to Mitsubishi dealers.
You guys, really appreciate your time. Any questions that come up, feel free to use that form, and we're here to help you out. Ken, anything else from your side before we close out?
No, you guys did a fabulous job as always. And I mean, I got a text while we were in the webinar from a dealer that said this is exactly what we need right now. So I think you've got one enrollment happening already. So thanks for taking us through that. And again, any questions, feel free to reach out through this website, contact our representatives, our field managers, and they can help you out as well. So guys, very good job. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Yes.